So I've set myself a 2025 reading challenge that I have dubbed Read or Rid. And I have made a list for what it's going to contain. You may notice there's already colour on there, and that is because it's also halfway through February. What is Read or Rid? Well, it's basically what it says on the tin. I either read a book, and if I don't read it by the end of the year, I get rid of it. That was the theory. In reality, I went through all the fiction that I have behind me, which I will insert some B-roll of because I'm fancy. And these are all books that I have from, because I have more fiction in storage, but these were all books that I thought I might want to read when I was sorting like 2 years ago. I've kept out because I thought, well, I want to read them soon. They're comfort reads, or they're stuff I think I might read and then not need anymore because they're quite old. You know, there was something I enjoyed in my teen years and I might kind of be aged out of. Because despite my youthful face and spotty chin, I am in my late 20s. So I wrote them all down, like every book that I think I'd owned pre-2020 that I thought I'd either read, reread and probably get rid of, or that I haven't read and haven't ever got to. And it turned out to be 100 titles. So there's 100 books on this list. Could I read 100 books in the year? Yes, last year I read 146 books. Do I want my entire year of reading to be devoted just to books that, in some cases, I've owned for 15 years and never got round to? Probably not. So there is a little bit of leeway of, if I get to the end of the year and there's some titles that aren't green or red, then I will just move on from. I did not explain that bit very well. Basically, if I get to the end of the year and some of them haven't been gotten to, I will properly evaluate, did I think about it and decide, actually I'm not getting to it, in which case I probably will let it go because I just kept overlooking it. But there might just be some that I didn't even have time to think about because there were other books in the way, and 100 books is a lot to get through. As you can see, there's already some green and red on there because I have, even though it's half February now and I'm just making this video now, I have been doing this since the beginning of January, and I have tackled 11 titles from there. The green and red basically just denote whether or not I actually read it or I tried and gave up on it. It does not say whether or not I kept the book afterwards. So that's the goal, that's the challenge. In the theory, I should update at the end of each month what I have achieved. Maybe include like what I read outside of it as well. Do a normal monthly wrap up. So I'm just going to briefly talk about the books that I did manage to hit in this. So I read The Deadlands. Most of them I don't still have the books for. They've already been donated to a charity shop or been donated to my local library. This one I have kept because I really enjoyed it and I didn't expect to that much. It's a post-apocalyptic book set quite far after the apocalypse, where society kind of rebuilt, and it's quite actiony and from multiple people's perspective, which I don't normally go for, but the ideas were really interesting about like what is important to humanity. There's some weird kind of fantasy sci-fi elements to it, but for the most part it's just about people. Would I recommend it? Not to anyone who reads the books I read. That's the thing, it really surprised me that I enjoyed it, but I did so much that I think I might be holding on to it for a while to keep to reread in the future because it was good. The next one I read, I don't have because it's already gone to the charity shop, was not good. It was The Chasers by Phelan. Don't know his first name. I gave up writing first names at some point because that took up a lot of space, and they're alphabetical, so I only need to know their surname to be able to find it easily. It was a apocalypse sort of thing right after a sort of virus gets loose and makes people zombies. They're zombies. They call them chasers because they chase them, but they're zombies who are obsessed with water to the point that they will rip people open to get at them. Their water. It was rubbish. Not much happened, nothing got explained, and got to the end and they're like, oh, we got a big twist. I just was like, are you serious? That's so dumb. It was too young for me. I probably might have enjoyed it at 12, not at 27. But that's also true for probably quite a few of these books. I've had them for so long that I've just aged out of them. That one was actually one I got off my sibling, and was definitely more their sort of book at the time either. But they even went, well, I'm probably not going to read it. And I went, oh, I'll give it a go. We like zombies. No, would not recommend. And there was more. There was like a series of them. Part was part of a trilogy, because everything has to be part of a trilogy. I will not be picking up any more of them, in case you couldn't tell from my glowing review. I also read The Witch's Child by Talia Rees. I do not have that, as it has gone to the charity shop, but I do have another one by her here that is also on my read or read. I had a set of them. These were the only two that I kept during a previous declutter, with The Witch's Child being one I'd read in the past, and this one still interesting to me. I did read The Witch's Child again, and I'd aged out of it. It was a really good book when I was younger. It's about a girl who was living with her grandmother. Her grandmother is killed for being a witch in England, and to keep her safe she goes to America, and it's about her journey there. A lot of it takes place on the boat, and then her placement there and the fear of witchcraft and how that impacted her. And it was, yeah, it was kind of a weird thing where it's kind of about how people are hysterical and terrified of witches when people are just doing normal, women are just doing normal caring things, and healers because they know midwifery. But she also apparently did have witchcraft abilities, so that's kind of a, yeah, it didn't quite, I don't know, it felt like it didn't quite know what it was trying to be. Was it a supernatural book about a witch trying to conceal she's a witch, or was it about the witch trials and about the persecution of women? Yeah, it's not one I need anymore, so it is out of here. I also read Extraordinary Means, which is about a fictional strand of incurable tuberculosis, and a school where kids go with this disease to wait until they are can't affect people, and see if they live or die. Now I know so much more about tuberculosis, about how it still kills so many people, about it being cost prohibitive for life-saving measures. I can't enjoy it. It felt kind of, I don't know, dirty to read about rich white kids having a problem that really does impact lots of people. I like the setting, I like that sort of story as a teenager, but it felt a bit weird reading it. Now I know so much more. And it was a story about teenagers that was fine when I was a teenager, and just not that interested now. So that has gone on to find a new home. Rules for Vanishing by Marshall. Don't know her first name. Can't remember if it even was a woman. I'm assuming it was a woman. It's about a girl whose sister had gone missing the year before, and that there was this law in the area that on a certain one day a year they can go down a road and it will basically take them to another realm, and they have to go through these doors and to get what they want. So it was sort of it was kind of a trials story with supernatural spooky elements. I really enjoyed it. I would show it to you, but it's actually currently with my twin because I enjoyed it so much and was talking about it and made it sound so good that they were like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll read that. So now, after a string of successes and greens, we have a string of, I don't really actually want to call them failures, reds, ones that I didn't actually read, which is a bit confusing when you say it like that. Don't mean that they were bad, it just means they weren't for me for whatever reason, and I've decided there's no point pushing myself through a book that isn't suiting to my taste for whatever reason. So I won't be able to tell you much about them because I didn't finish them. The Lost Art by Morden. I started really getting along with it and being really intrigued by this kind of historical setting that, spoilers, I don't know if that is spoilers, it's actually in the future. The technology has turned back. I think that might have been said on the first, but on the blurb, I can't remember. I don't have it anymore. No, it's gone. But I just, after a little bit, it was switching between a couple of different perspectives. I was just struggling to get along with it, and I just didn't feel like I was going to get the payout that other people might from it, because I don't tend to read those sort of books. And although this challenge is making me go outside my comfort zone, there's going out of my comfort zone, and then there's dragging myself kicking and screaming through the mud for no reason. And that felt a little bit like that one was. But from what I could tell, the writing style was really good. The Lost Art by Morden. It is set in a kind of medieval-ish technology level, but it's from the future. Like, they have lost all our technology and there is still like some relics of it, so the Lost Art. The writing style was really good and I was really engaged. I just realised after about 50 pages that it wasn't something that I was really going to enjoy. I could finish it, it would probably be an interesting story, but it just wasn't for me, and a big part of this is letting that be okay, letting myself to take a chance on a book rather than being only reading within my comfort zone because I know that I'll enjoy this book, reading something that I might enjoy, I might not, and then also giving myself permission to say, okay, I'm going to move on, I don't need to finish this. The other one kind of surprised me that I didn't enjoy was An Anonymous Girl. It sounded really compelling. And now, for the life of me, I can't tell you anything about what it was about. There was a psychology study she signed up for, and then the person running it was becoming obsessed with her, but then she was going to become obsessed with her because we find out that it's a woman who's in charge of it. And I like thrillers sometimes, but I'm very picky about my thriller, and I thought this thriller would be for me, and it wasn't. I did cheat and look up it online. I can't remember how it ended now, but I can tell you that when I read it I was like, ah, yeah, good, glad I didn't waste my time. The next one was another ex-library book called Girl in the Dark. It's about a woman, it's a true story about a woman with extreme photosensitivity to the point that she was basically trapped in a room, sealing herself away from light, and about her struggles with that, and about her light sensitivity and how it got better and worse, and the journey through discovering how to cope and stuff like that. I didn't read it. I have my own personal struggles with being trapped in the house due to mental health and physical disability, and I just didn't need to hear someone else's struggle with that, even though it was for a different reason. There's a time to push yourself and read stories that you can relate to, and there's time to go, do you know what, I am dealing enough with my own battles without being reminded of it through my escapist hobby. I tried to reread Opening Straight by Coinsberg. It was about a kid who goes to boarding school, and in his hometown he was out gay and had been since he was about 12. And when he went to boarding school, he decided he was going to go back into the closet. Not because he was ashamed of being gay, but because he kind of wanted a chance to not be the gay kid. And it's about him at this boys' school and falling in love. It was something I'd really enjoyed as a teenager, but it felt a bit weird rereading as an adult. Like, I think I just outgrown it. So I think I already knew that I was likely going to get rid of it after rereading it, but I didn't even reread it. I started it and went, no, do you know what? I still remember how it goes. I don't need to read it. It can go off and find a new home. My battery's running out, so I'm going to do the last two really quickly. I read The Nothing Man by Catherine Ryan Howard, which I still have, as I really enjoyed it. It is a thriller about a man from basically a serial killer's perspective, about a man reading a book written about his exploits from his sole survivor. It was really, really good. If you haven't read it, I'm not going to tell you anything else about it. Pick it up if you like thrillers at all. It is well worth the read. And the last one that I still have, and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it yet or not, is Love Letters to the Dead. It's a girl who's lost her sister, and she starts writing letters to dead celebrities, Kurt Cobain, Janis Joplin, all sorts, and about her way of using them to tell what's going on in her school as she changed schools to sort of get away from the memory, and about her coming to terms with her past and her loss. And it was really good. Do I need it, or could it go find a new home? I'm not sure yet, so that's why I'm still holding on to it. It's kind of in the same sort of category as Deadlands, where I'm not quite sure yet whether or not I'm going to keep it. But that is everything I've read so far. I haven't actually read any in February, so you'll see me back with an update. Whether I bother to do one for February, I'm not sure yet, as it is already halfway through February. So I might just wrap February, and if I do hit any books, and March together. I have read some books outside of the challenge, so maybe I just do a small video saying what those were. But I will try and at least hold on to the books in future long enough to show them to the camera, rather than being like, hey, I read this book, I can't tell you the full author's name, I can't tell you what it's about, and I can't show you the cover. Maybe I've edited them in. If I was fancy, I might have edited them in, but probably not. So I'll work on that for future entries.